Beowulf, the eponymous main character of that god-awful movie. Have you seen it? That movie's terrible. But we're not here to talk about movies, because that's something only nerds do, and I only concern myself with the most adult, mature, and grown-up of topics. Like, is Beowulf big strong? Well, the short answer is who cares, because power levels are for nerds. The long answer, well, let's talk about it. But before we get to that, let's quickly talk about his backstory, because I think this is important. Beowulf exists in a universe where both Norse mythology and the god of the Bible are 100% real. Since Beowulf's strength comes from Jah, the god of the Bible, Beowulf is as strong as the god of the Bible allows him to be, which technically makes this video a giant waste of time, but based on what's presented on the text, we can come up with some baseline. Alright? Now let's begin. So, for starters, Beowulf is said to have on each hand the strength of 30 men. With this, you can say he's as strong as 60 people. Also, Beowulf defeated the monster Grendel, who can easily kill 30 people, and Beowulf once swam across a lake dragging 30 iron plates, armor for soldiers. Speaking of swimming, he can swim underwater for hours. So obviously superhuman, but not anything ridiculous, right? Well, this is where things start to get out of hand. See, Beowulf is allegedly the strongest man on Earth. Now, Beowulf is not the first Nordic hero to claim this, but if we believe it, Beowulf would be stronger than people like the Nordic hero Sigurd or Nordic berserkers. Something you probably will find more impressive, however, is the fact that the monster Grendel itself considers Beowulf the strongest guy ever. Keep in mind, Grendel is an antediluvian creature. Grendel existed since before the god of the Bible flooded the world, and Grendel basically had no idea a man as strong as Beowulf could exist. This technically means that Beowulf is stronger than Samson, which means Beowulf minimum could also kill 1,000 people by himself. However, all of this relies on the fact that Beowulf is claimed to be the strongest ever. If you don't believe this claim, then you can dismiss all of this. Even then, Beowulf can rip the arm of the monster Grendel, and Grendel's body is said to be like steel. Even more impressive than this, however, is the fact that Beowulf and Grendel fought in a building that was supposedly impossible to be destroyed unless you burned it, and during his fight with Grendel, Beowulf almost brings down this building. However, even this pales in comparison with the disgusting amount of wank that I'm about to perform. See, Beowulf fought 9 marine monsters. The poem itself does not tell us anything about these creatures, but Beowulf exists in a universe where the Bible is 100% real, and in the Bible there are marine monsters. So you could argue that what Beowulf is fighting here are 9 creatures with a power similar to that of the biblical Leviathan. That would easily put Beowulf about planet level in terms of strength, but that's a really big pill to swallow, and quite frankly, I personally would not be convinced by this. And if being stronger than Leviathan is not enough wank for you, Beowulf exists in a universe where mythological Thor should be real, and Beowulf supposedly is so strong that he always breaks every weapon he uses. If we take this claim seriously, Beowulf would be capable of destroying mythological Mjolnir, which would make Beowulf stronger than mythological Thor. But just to be super clear, this is a disgusting amount of wank. I do not believe this even for a second, and I do not encourage you to go around claiming Beowulf is this strong. Now, that's pretty much everything I have to say about his strength, but Beowulf has some equipment that I feel is worth mentioning. Beowulf has a golden chainmail and a helmet that are both indestructible. This armor, by the way, was created by Wayland, a legendary elven smith from Norse mythology. Wayland was an elf that apparently was really good at crafting. Fun fact, this elf Wayland also made armor for King Arthur. Finally, Beowulf has a sword. Well, he's had many swords throughout his life, but the most powerful sword he ever wielded was what I call the Nephilian sword. This was a sword that was owned by one of the biblical giants, the Nephilim, and with it Beowulf kills the legendary monster Grendel's mom. It may sound mundane, but this is impressive because Grendel's mom is stronger than Beowulf, so this sword is more powerful than someone who is more powerful than Beowulf. And that's it, that's Beowulf. Well, I guess I could waste time talking about his personality or whatever, but let's be honest, probably no one cares about that. So, let's answer the question of this video. How powerful is Beowulf? Well, as I have demonstrated throughout this video, you can really go crazy with the wank, but I feel like being as strong as 60 men is a good baseline. From there on, the sky's the limit, but as strong as 60 men is a good answer. That being said, I think that's gonna do it. So, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.